Oh,
Good evening, councillors. As our mayor and deputy and chair and deputy are not available for this evening's meeting, I need to ask you to nominate a chair for the meeting.
nominate councillor Rogers.
I second that.
Nominations.
Oh, no.
Show of hands, favour? That's lovely. There you are. For the-
Right, thank
for the
you.
meeting.
See what we can do anyway, wasn't the thing about this really. Welcome to this town community meeting on Tuesday, the 9th of March, 19th of March, should I say. This meeting will be recorded and will be uploaded to the Bilf Town Council YouTube page. The aim of this decision making should be transparent and will be the public domain, which will involve more of our community and local democracy. By being in this chamber, you're consenting to being recorded and your images will be added to the YouTube page. The images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed by the speakers are their own and not necessarily reflected by the views of the Town Council. Please view guidance on recordings in public meetings if you need more information. Thank you. Starting with 66, apologies please, Chief Officer.
Councillors Garvey, Salt, Smith and Yates.
Councillor Proud, lovely.
Okay, and got them out, yeah. Okay, thank you. 67, declarations of interest, disclosure of pecuniary interests and dispensations and other interests. Non-declared, if anything crops up, give me a shout, please. 68, sign the minutes of the town community meeting held on Tuesday, the 20th of February. They were passed in full council. Are we all in favour to sign those as a true copy of the meeting?
Yep.
Okay. That's not. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, 68B, to note that the Health and Wellbeing Working Group meeting planned on the Monday, the 12th of February was postponed. That's just information. 68C, to see the notes from the Environment and Climate Working Group held on Wednesday, the 14th of February. Chief Officer, please.
Do you want to run through those? Has anybody had the opportunity to read those?
And that,
Yes, somebody's got a particular question.
just go them through it briefly. Present. Apologies. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any comments, queries?
Received?
Received all in favours?
Yep.
Yep. 68D. Receive the notice from the Bill of Works Together meeting held on Wednesday, the 21st of February. That was actually chaired by Councillor Jackson.
Those.
Just give me those. Just run through them. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which you can see the next meeting is tomorrow. Anybody would like to attend that? Will be, just a quick note on that, will be held later than normal due to our commitment at 9:30 that you're all involved in if you wish to be.
Yes, he'll be downstairs as well.
Oh, right, we'll be downstairs. But it's at 11 o'clock, not 10 o'clock tomorrow, for that reason. 68E, to note that the young person people's working group meeting planned for Thursday, 22nd February was not called. Is that planned for another date now, are we?
We haven't set another date for that as yet. I wonder whether we might, at a later meeting of this committee, come back and have a conversation about the future of that working group, really.
Councillor Jackson?
Wasn't not core it because of absence of councillors or absence of young people or schools or.
In attendance was one councillor and a PTS.
Best, isn't it? Okay, thanks for that. 69. Confirm that the CCT working group will take place on Friday, the 22nd of March at 10 AM. In here, are we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Jackson?
Who's actually coming to that? Is it a Zoom as well, the hybrid one, or?
It's just us in the first instance while we get our thoughts.
We're going to
together
use that
about-
as a bit of a scoping one
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you. 70, I suggest that we move that to another meeting because Councillor Smith has put her apologies in and she has the information. So we'll move it to another month if that's okay with you. 71. Consider Bill for Works Together project recommendations. And there's a few of them. I leave that to the Chief Officer to go through and discuss if you want.
Thank you. So at a previous, not last meeting, the meeting before, we received the report that had been completed by Councillor Salt in her work capacity and members of the Bill for Works Together project group. And they had come up with a series of recommendations within their report, and we agreed that through this committee we would look at those recommendations in blocks to decide whether there were any that we felt we could move forward, and to just kind of unpick those a little bit. So the first one there is that Biddulph Town Council organises some intergenerational activity with young people / young adults alongside the older generations to share knowledge of subjects like cookery.
Councillor Jackson?
I think while we're looking, we should look at it the other way as well. What young people can pass on to older people, technology wise, for instance. You know, how many grandparents here ask the grandchildren how to operate a mobile phone, or, you know, do something on a computer or whatever. So I think it can be a two-way street, because young people have got skills that older people may not have. So, you know, it's truly intergenerational if information is going both ways.
Point taken. Any other comments?
I'm not sure how we'd actually do it, but it's a bit of thinking about.
I wonder if there's any of the schools that have a kind of community project that they want to do.
Might be an
Whether
interesting
they-
project for them, mightn't it?
Whether we could lead, they could lead something on our
I
behalf.
think that would be a good way of doing it through
Yeah.
schools.
A learning curve for them and for us as well in many ways.
They may well be doing things like that anyway.
Also the zone as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
The zone are already doing some of this stuff with older people and younger people. Rather than reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, I think if you contact the high school and look at the health and social care curriculum there may be something that, I mean, if some of the GCSE kids could then do it as part of their qualification, whether it be, you know, that kind of thing, that would be fantastic. They could do.
They're actually getting something out of it then, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Inquiries will be made and report back to you.
So it's something we'd like to move forward with, but at the moment we're not really sure what that looks like, but we'll make some inquiries and come back. Is that? That's the feedback.
There you go.
Then recommendation 5 in the report was that Biddulph Town Council continues to fund the 93 bus service and works with partner organisations such as bus companies and the district and county councils to procure more public transport options. I suppose we have a transport working group that already looks at those activities. We've had some success in recent months with expanding existing services and some new services. So I suppose we could say it is already high on our agenda as a town council. Whether that's, anyone wants to add anything else on that? Number 6 then is the Borough Town Council should continue to use methods like leaflet delivery, use of online media and local newspapers to promote the Borough Works Together projects as well as local radio. It should also work with partners like the District Council to encourage them to share information on the Borough Works Together project via their platforms and mail shots.
Logo idea was on the other one, wasn't it?
Last week,
On
yes.
the
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
As you can see, for the people who don't go to the meeting, I understand why you don't go to them anyways, but you can see it's quite an active committee, isn't it? There's been a lot for the town. Okay.
I think
No
we-
other comments on that?
I think that we just continue doing, I think that action there is continue doing more of the same, isn't it? Yeah, so I think we're happy with that, aren't we?
I think so, yeah. Alex, thank you. 72 then. Confirm arrangement regards to the current environment and climate change consultation.
Okay, so you've seen in the notes from the last meeting that as a working group, they've decided to kind of refocus a little bit. So there was an open meeting held in winter 2019, which got loads of really good feedback about priorities in relation to environment and climate change. And obviously time has gone by and COVID has happened since then, and the working group felt it was appropriate to kind of decide whether those were the right priorities still. Obviously completed some of those actions, and then to try and decide whether there should be any new actions on the action plan and bring those forward for further consideration. So there's a very brief online survey which we put out via social media at the moment, which says this is what we think we've done, and this is what we still think we've got to do. Is there anything that we're missing? And then how do you think you can help? So it's got 4 questions in it and seeks some feedback from people. So there's a meeting tomorrow evening. No, Thursday evening. I thought it was Wednesday all day. On Thursday evening between 5 and 6:30, just to kick off some face-to-face consultations. So we'll have some boards around the room and people can kind of stick some stickies on and just say whether they think they're the right priorities. And then we'll have those in the reception going forward as well, so that people can just drop into the town hall and add anything that they want to as well. So that's the reporter from the Chronicle has been in touch, and I've put that in Thursday's paper. So whilst it will be in the paper, and if you buy it on Friday, you've missed the Thursday consultation, it will be ongoing for a period after that. And then the working group will kind of crunch the numbers and the results after that and come up with a brief action plan to bring back here for further approval. That's where we're up to with that.
Okay. 73, receive a verbal update on the financial inclusion group. It was held on Friday the 15th over at SNDC. I'm not sure how many of you went to it. I couldn't, unfortunately, because I was working on that day. Let's have an update, please, if that's
Certainly. So in a previous meeting, we agreed that a town council meeting, we agreed that the town council would become a member of the financial inclusion group for North Staffordshire. So that's a group of stakeholders and kind of relevant agencies, all of whom are trying to sort of share knowledge and develop projects that will support people who are struggling financially or have issues with energy bills, but the like. So the aim of this event that was on the 15th was that it was at Southmoreland District Council, and there were quite a series of speakers throughout the morning. So there was an introduction from a gentleman from Aspire House, and he's the deputy chair of that group. Then we heard from there's a group called Emmaus, which I think we should have some conversations with in Biddulph. So they work with people who are in furniture poverty. And so what used to be called Furniture Mine, Emmaus took over Furniture Mine, and they recycle furniture and home goods. They have all sorts of projects. There's lots of interesting articles actually that mentioned that I'll try and kind of wade through over the next few weeks about particularly about bed poverty as well. And that's something that we found through Biddulph Works Together, and the contacts there is that actually there've been quite a number of people over the past few years that we've come across who don't have mattresses, or the children don't have their own beds and things like that. So I think it would be a beneficial contact, not because it's something that we need on a weekly basis, but it's just useful to know what the process is for us. If we get a family in who don't have beds for the children, then they work with an agency that can deliver a whole bed package. So the bed itself, the mattress, the duvet, the covers, that sort of thing as well. So it's useful to know all about that. There's a small cost for delivery, but they'll collect furniture for free as well. And we do quite often get inquiries into the town hall from people who've got really good quality furniture who just can't get it out of their house, or can't get it to the tip, or whatever it's to do. So that was really useful. I'm going to make some contacts there, I think. Potteries Moneywise were there, and we've got good relationships with them already. And Residential Energy Services were there. We've had them at our Energy Day, and they're doing lots of work. If you come across people who are really struggling to put measures into their homes, such as insulation or kind of cladding and that sort of thing, to make their homes more warm, essentially, Residential Energy Services can work to kind of navigate the energy companies, all of whom have an obligation to provide funding for this sort of thing, but it's now impossible to kind of navigate how you get through that to that funding. And these organisations like Residential Energy Services across the country have been set up to help people do that. So that was really interesting. Severn Trent as well provide, they call it the Big Difference scheme. So there are households if you've got a household with an income of less than £20,000, there are all sorts of measures that they can put in place to reduce bills. So all of these things are useful for you as counsellors, I think, but also helpful for us to tap into, both in reception and when people call service as well. The Loan Sharks team was there, and I did think it's a while since we've had the Loan Sharks team in to do training here, so I'm going to get those back in for their team here. So if anybody would like to come and listen to that training, it's about an hour and a half. That's really interesting, kind of how you spot a loan shark, the process of dealing with that, the sorts of things that they go through as a team. And then interesting as well, there was an organisation there called Moneyline, and they do not-for-profit loans. So, you borrow money off your loan sharks, but actually you could borrow money off Moneyline, and with that loan, they also kind of bring along a load of support and a load of advice about accessing the right benefits and that sort of thing. So I think so far our £50 membership in the financial inclusion group's already money well spent.
Yeah, Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Sarah, just thinking all those I'm assuming the CAB will have all of those sort of boxed off and they can pass on that advice to anybody that goes to the CAB. But I was just wondering whether any of those organisations, whether it just be paperwork that they might have, or whether somebody from that or any of those organisations would like to come to the Middle Works Together meeting, because that would be a really good way of disseminating. Because I think, I've not heard of some of them. I mean, the Moneyline one, that was sort of involved with the community banking, a few years ago, and that's a new one on me. I've not heard of that one. Yeah, and I think you usually find that people who need it don't know either. So I think with the contacts that we've got within the Middle Works Together group would be, we've got a way of getting some of that information out to people that go to the different functions with the Middle Works Together group. So do we have a think about either, inviting them to one of our meetings? They're busy people and whatever, but at least, we get that information out to people in the village together.
Yeah, I think for me, from
Yeah,
HR,
carry on.
it was useful to kind of have somebody now whose name was on the board and I could scribble it down and then I can kind of say, this is what we do in Biddulph. Can you either send us a load of bulk and I'll get it out to people, or can you? So
Yeah.
I think it's knowing who to talk to, isn't it? And these things, so beneficial for that.
Okay. Thank you for that. 74, to receive a verbal update on 2024 events and confirmation of key events. I'll just be bringing the events director in on this one. Events officer Jodie. Thank you.
Yes.
Just send you some
Yeah,
paperwork down.
I'd like to upload it to the brush wet. Okay, so we've just got to do that so you can take that away and make sure the key dates are in your diaries and that kind of thing. So. Are you happy if I just talk through each one of these
Please
then?
do,
We've got some
yeah.
brief notes next to it, more to remind me of where we're up to really. So I've just, on 21st of March, I've just already mentioned the environment drop in. So adverts gone out in Biddulph Times, Chronicle and social media, and there's an online survey that's the 5th of April. I'm going a bit about face here because I'll talk to you a bit about films in a minute. Is that what we're calling it? No, it's got a movable name. We're going to hopefully start our first Friday night film club, Friday night flicks, whatever we're calling it. We'll talk about that in a minute as an agenda item.
Sure.
It still says 30th of March.
Which is of April.
30th of April. The right order, but it should say 30th of April. We've talked through this committee about trying to make sure that we don't lose existing arts groups. A while ago, we had Eric Cox come in to talk to us about that. And a lot of funding was channeled into the outside project, which meant that there wasn't funding available for existing arts groups. So that's little groups that maybe do sewing or they do poetry or what, all sorts of little artistic endeavours already. We've been in touch, which we've reported back previously, with the new culture and art officer or heritage officer, something like that, at the district council, and she's going to come and talk to groups and kind of capture what's necessary. The idea for that is that we had an evening meeting, and as we get closer to, we'll think about food options, perhaps do pie and pea for some, and kind of try and get arts groups that are already established into the town hall to get their feedback on what they need going forward, because we've completely lost arts forums in the town as things stand. So that's our attempt at that.
So on that one, because SMDC, more or less exactly what they did with the Sports Council funding, took it away from grassroots. And it seems to me they've done something very, very similar with the arts groups to bring it closer to SMDC rather than out into the community. And as happened with this Sports Council and that most sports councils folded, I think Cheadle's teaching on the brink at the moment because of how the funding set up. And I mean, that was the old administration. Perhaps the new administration might look at the way that's being done. Perhaps going back to how it was done before. To get that money to these small groups.
It seems to work better before.
Yeah, I don't think there's any money available, not from the district level, because all of it went into the outside project in this match funded bit for from money from the Arts Council. So I think what we would probably need to, when we get the feedback from that meeting, I think we'll probably need to have a conversation about signposting people through our existing grants funds, but maybe for that group it was always beneficial for networking as well, so they can get together, share ideas about things that they can work on, because there are grants pots available, less easily accessible than it used to be via the district, but I think it was the opportunity to kind of come together and share information about each other's events, that kind of thing that they used to find really beneficial. Okay, So our garden festival is on the 11th of May. Biddulph Times adverts come out, the speaker's confirmed. She's doing a book signing and there's a request out at the moment for stall holders. Does anybody have any ideas of people they would like to invite to a garden festival by way of a kind of stall or as a speaker or as entertainment, something like that? Anybody, any grand ideas? Have you been anywhere and seen anything fabulous?
Yeah, as you know, through the allotments committee, they wanted to get involved at that, on that point, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, they're doing a seed swap. Yeah, seed swap.
Hmm.
Or plant swap or
Yeah.
something like
I'd
that.
like to be involved in that, the allotments will.
Yeah.
So who have we got confirmed then?
So Rachel Detain is coming from Gardener's World. If you watch Gardener's World, you know.
She's on there.
Detain.
It was on radio.
My wife watched it, I've got a set of headphones on.
So tell us, you'll be really excited.
Right,
So
okay.
the way that we, so we, that's what we got UK Shared Prosperity funding for, so that is funding the majority of her, and then we've but there'll be a very small ticket price for her. And the idea being that if people had paid so we thought if we charged £5 for her, I mean, if you're in the kind of leafy green areas, the home counties, you're looking at £30 or £40 to see her speak. So if we charged £5 to see her, we could recoup a little bit of cost we put into the event, but also it would mean that people didn't book tickets that they then didn't feel like they, like, you know, there's a bit more investment in booking the ticket, I think, isn't there?
Any timings for that?
Yes, very recently. So she's coming on the train, so she's going to speak between 2 and 3. She'll speak between 2 and 3, then she'll do a book signing afterwards. So the market we were thinking would start at sort of 10, 11 o'clock, go on till 4-ish. Yeah, Brian from Biddulph is coming to speak as well.
Yeah.
So there'll be things to, hopefully the idea is, the reason we got it through UK Shared Prosperity Fund is that we've got somebody who's quite a big name, you get people into the town, then there's enough for them to see in the town centre, which should be quite a nice attraction for that. And then you get new footfall, you get new people into the town, which is the idea, obviously, of the UK Shared. Obviously, you get existing residents as well, but the pull of potentially somebody who's quite famous.
That's like everything, it's published, there's the key to it, isn't it, to get people to know about it, really. And obviously, hopefully, Biddulph Grange Gardens can advertise it possibly, would they speak to them nicely?
I don't know.
They may do if they
they're
speak
not
to them
available
nicely.
at the
I'll
moment.
speak to Helen if you wish.
Well, okay. They're not available at the moment. So, yeah, so if you come across, if you go, you know, Easter weekend, you go anywhere marvellous and you see some fabulous garden-based things or activities, by all means, let us know and we'll try and get them in as well. Okay, so obviously we've got mayor making on the 14th of May, but our annual town meeting is the 21st of May. And the proposal was that that's basically the date when we celebrate our 50th anniversary. We've got something later to bring to you for a badge, and then we wondered about having kind of inviting those who are over 50. Kind of, we noticed that Basque Swimming Club is also celebrating 50 years this year, so to have some kind of discussions with them. And in previous years, we've done like little interviews on that we've put out on social media and kind of talking about 50 years history and trying to encourage people to get involved in different schemes or what have you. So that seemed like quite a nice opportunity to celebrate other organisations. There seemed to be a lot happening around 1974. Right, 25th of May, Future You. This is our kind of food and better health event. So we've been working with the county on, which is kind of better health agenda and partners. So we've got some quite nice ideas about slow cookers, kind of we talked about this in the previous meeting, I think green peppers and red tomatoes and all that sort of thing, and a stop motion activity for children, and then a range of partners who are also involved in kind of health promotion and that kind of thing. So lots of talk about food, opportunities for young people to try foods that they may not try at home. So that links in very well with the agenda for the family hub, who finding that lots of young people have this kind of restrictive eating because of COVID. So it's an opportunity to get people involved in other food ideas. So again, we've put out requests for stalls and guests. And if there's anybody that you're working with who you think would be marvellous at that event, then just let me know. On the 1st of June, we are having the D-Day celebration, commemoration it is, for the 80th anniversary. So the advert's gone in the Bit-Off Times for that as well. Needing to know the acronyms here, I think I know them all. So the first one's Kingsfield Singers, and then it's Road Hall Silver Band and the Bit-Off Male Voice Choir. So collectively, the three organisations are going to do a concert on the 1st of June. We're keeping the ticket price low, which means that our events budget will need to subsidise that because there's some costs associated with having those organisations here in terms of their insurances and that kind of thing. But we thought we'd do ticket prices at £5, which is including an intermission with tea and cake. So it should be a really nice evening with music from the time, and we think a couple of readings, don't we? And town crier is available for that. So that will be a nice event. Yeah.
Are we liaising with British Legion as well?
Yeah, Elaine's aware of that. She's happy with that as a suggestion. The D-Day anniversary is actually the Thursday, the 6th, and that's when everyone's supposed to light beacons. We struggle a bit in Biddle being a valley to light a beacon. So we've got the D-Day flag that's already arrived, and we've got I think it's red, the lantern, isn't it? There's a red lantern that we're all supposed to have, and then you will light the lantern at the appropriate time. So in the morning, this is Bruno Peake's kind of plan for the day. The morning the town crier does a cry, and he's listed in Bruno's guide to the event. And then in the evening, at a relevant time, I think we all meet on the steps, and then we light the lantern, do some kind of quite prescriptive and stuff. So we'll know more about our kind of plan for that day a little bit closer to, so keep your eyes open for that, but we'll do that. That's Thursday the 6th. The mayor is firming up the mayor to be, if elected. If elected. What if he'll still do if he's not elected? Councillor Yates is firming up his plans for a Northern Soul evening on Saturday, the 8th of June. So watch this space for that if you like Northern Soul. Yes.
I am not.
And sure he'll be looking for volunteers to support him with that. And then just by way of an update, because we just wanted to firm up some of the dates with you when we first started talking about events at the start of the year, we kind of had months of things and ballparks about when we were having things, but we talked about the idea of having a prayer breakfast, which is something that they have at Parliament, and Yan, who's the new Methodist minister, had kind of been to that when she was in her previous home, I suppose Nottingham Way was it? She'd been invited by her MP there to go to the parliamentary prayer breakfast. She said it was a really nice opportunity to kind of combine politics and religion, and she wondered whether we'd feel like we could do something similar here. From our perspective, it's very straightforward actually. So we've chosen the 27th of June, and we've met with Churches Together group. They are absolutely delighted with that. So we have spoken about, through our events budget, providing some breakfast, and essentially they will meet, it's about 7:30 perhaps, have some content to be decided by them. I think they're going to have a speaker, theme, have the opportunity for prayer and discussion amongst their kind of tables, and quite easy for us to manage actually. So, but a really nice thing to do with local churches, and we do obviously lots of events in the town are run by the local churches, and they're a key partner in Bit Up Works together. So it's nice to be able to support them through that. So that's where we're up to, I think. That
I'm
feels
just
okay.
going to be slightly cheeky and add Saturday, the 15th of September onto that as well. It's a car show. Just like a cheeky note on the bottom. Thank you.
Bring him on this year.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I've thought to you about that before.
Yeah.
Good. All right, 75. Receive an update on Friday Night Film Club, starting in April. We just touched on it, but we'll go into it more in depth now, please.
Yeah, so previous discussions, we joined the West Midlands Film Hub. And that was, is an organisation where they will support venues to show film and to promote British film and specialist films and that kind of thing. And obviously we do our community cinema, which is now monthly for people with dementia and life-limiting conditions. So we were quite keen to be a bit more structured, I think, and to have other dates in our diaries as regards film, and we'd seen some success with doing family films through holidays, and much to our surprise, it absolutely packed out the town hall, offering essentially free family films during holidays. So we wanted to build on that success. So we've been having some discussions with the Film Hub team, and they've come back. So after one of our meetings, we talked about the creation of a kind of brand for family and kids events in the town, and hopefully using an organisation called Touchscreen, which will support young people who have special educational needs, and for them to kind of access film in a much more gentle way. And she's come back, Amy that we've been speaking to, yes, they can link us up with a designer who can look at coming up with a logo or assets for a kids cinema club or a more general kids club. And that can be used across the art forms. So they're happy to fund that. I said we were thinking we'd like to do a 12-month trial starting in April. We think of a Friday film night. Once a month, and we're hoping to link with the Stoke Film Theatre to kind of come up with ideas about content. Because whilst the theatre isn't there, lots of the people who used to be involved in that still kind of floating around and have got contacts with films. She says she thinks that's great. She's glad that we're keen to test that out as a concept. So that's kind of first Friday of the month. A film evening, and she's happy to contribute £1,200 towards the licence fees for that, which should enable us to secure licensing via Film Bank Media. She'll need us to do a report in terms of what we screen and the numbers of people that come, but it's not really onerous for us to do that. And then we talked about the food festival at the end of May, but potentially having a kind of film-based activity as part of that. And they're going to pull together a kind of 30-minute programme of shorts and to arrange a facilitator to run a workshop to kind of do some stop motion stuff. Yes, it's like tomatoes with little googly eyes that kind of wander around the place, and children can kind of feel food and then make films with it and actually take the food away with them, something like that. So she estimates the cost of the designer to be around £1,000. So they are proposing the initial investment from a film hub would be £2,200. They've got their staff time as well to create and deliver the short film programme. And she wonders whether we would be able to contribute around £300. So we have an events budget already, which could absolutely deal with that. She'll get exactly.
Has that got £300 got to go to full council just for rubber stamping that all?
No. For £300, anything up to £500 we can do. But I didn't want to kind of commit to a much bigger programme without bringing that here for your consideration. So she's also said she's currently looking at a bespoke training package to be delivered online by Cinema for All. And it would be free CPD for staff, and she'd love it if someone from Biddulph Town Hall would be attending. So that's a nice option as well, actually. So it's a really great partnership. If you are happy for us to accept their funding, then I think it's something that we should do, and I think we should trial if Friday Film Club, whatever we decide to call it. Has anyone got any ideas?
So for this first one, have we got a title for a film that that's going to be showing yet?
May,
Okay,
we were just waiting to speak to Amy about what's due to be released around that time. So we talked in the last meeting about sort of 1 month being sort of blockbuster type film, and then the following month being sort of an independent type film, so that you're always getting a bit of variety for everybody. So we're just waiting to see what's be released and what we can then share.
They'll all be family friendly films, is that the point?
No, not necessarily.
You could do an Oppenheimer.
Yeah. It's an evening thing, it's this one, but the children, young people's element of it is something that we'll work up as well. We're going to branding and then hopefully do that during holidays. So
okay. Up to speed on that one now.
would you mind just somebody saying that they're happy?
Yeah.
Yes, well, just say that we've got the information, we're up to speed on that, we're all happy to go ahead with
I
that.
know it says to receive
Yeah.
it, but I think it would, if we've got some consensus that we're okay.
Yeah,
with
we're
that,
all
we'll
happy to go ahead with that. Show of hands, please.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you
yeah.
for that.
Okay.
I'm one of the other dwarfs.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else you need to know on that one? We okay?
No, I think that's all right. It all feels quite nice and positive this meeting so far, doesn't it? I'm bringing lots of good news to you about things.
All right, brilliant.
No, can
Okay.
I say, as a group, we all really appreciate the work you put into these projects and works going forward, so thank you very much.
What goes on behind the scenes, doesn't it? You don't realise really.
Oh,
How do you not realise? Our office.
Only quite a few times a day. All right, thanks for that. Carrying on, 76. As you know, discuss ideas to mark the town's 50th anniversary this year. Now, if you look on the minutes of last meeting, there may be a section in here where we might have to go into confidential, so be a little bit careful. We talk about the 50th town.
I don't think there will be that this time.
Right.
No.
Okay.
So one of the things that we proposing to do is a little pin badge, which is something that you can wear on your lanyards. It's a little well, it's not photocopied necessarily so well, but it's a Biddulph Town Council pin badge which says 50th anniversary underneath, which I think is quite a nice concept. So councillors can all have one of those. At the moment it's 50, with the price there is for 50 of those. That includes the kind of setup as well. It's,
Just looking at 30mm, well, so big, isn't it, really?
I think it will be a similar size. Did anybody
An
have
inch,
the
yeah.
coronation one?
Yeah.
Like that one?
It's 30mm anyway, the sizes.
An inch.
Just over an inch, 25mm an inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still working in black and white.
Well, 25 mils an inch, 25.4 exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously through our events budget, we've got funding for that. So that's that we don't need to kind of seek your approval to find that from elsewhere. That's within our kind of estimations for the year. It's just whether you think it, do you like the design? Do you have any other ideas? Do you think 50 is enough? Do you want to, did anybody, obviously we put this on the agenda last time for everyone to have some marvellous ideas, but kind of have the idea at finance next week. We're going to have some proposals as regards the mayor's chain, and kind of potentially retiring part of that to then put that somewhere and celebrate the stuff that happened before 1974. So it seemed like quite a nice memento to have a little pin badge. And then through the annual town meeting, we'll make a bit of a fuss of the 50th for our 50th and those locally who are also 50.
Collection.
Reminded, is the proposal to sell them? At in the reception,
Yeah, we could do.
right, okay. How many are you proposing to get?
Start with.
Well, 50 to start with, but we
Just
could
50.
yeah, we could get more if you felt like
If
that.
every councillor bought one,
That's 22 gone straight away.
and what the officers would love to have one,
Yeah.
magic. Well, that's half of them gone.
Yeah.
They're not,
So we can order more, that's fine.
just
We
think,
haven't received these yet, and that's the design, so we can change the design if you want to change it too.
have we had one to look at?
One of the proofs here at the moment,
Was it the
I think,
second company that did that?
And it's a sister company. So we branched out into school badges and sort of personalised badges for these we had that from the system, we can make the school badges.
So I think the outside bit on the one you've got is the hard enamel, and then the inner circle is a soft enamel. I think obviously it's getting the detail in our logo. It's a bit of a that big for telling it. So I think that's why it's the soft one.
I mean, really, try, for what it is and for the detail in it, it's not a lot of money, is it?
No, we thought that was
Yeah.
the price actually.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that's
Is that inclusive price?
Is it? Yeah, so it is. So we'll get some of that back.
You may,
That's something myself.
might find if we order more, we get it cheaper anyway, because the design cost, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be cheaper. It's the initial setup that's always the cost there. So if you wanted to order 75, for example, we probably could do it and use 25 chunks, yeah.
Should we aim for 75?
Yeah.
All in favour of going to 75, are we? Initially? We'll push it to 75, start with, and see what happens. As I said, if each council has one, that's half gone, isn't it, versus on a 50?
Yeah, I'm sure that there are people in the town who would want one as well.
Well, I'm looking at those names behind. One of them is my old man, and he's no longer here, but my mum will definitely want one.
Yeah.
Because of that, I'm sure
That's right.
she's one of many that would be in that similar situation.
Yeah. I think so. And I suppose once we've done the setup, we could perhaps have some more after that.
Yeah, I was going to say, lead time for them.
I can't remember. But within the time for the date in May.
Yeah, it's in May anyway, when these,
It would be quicker for any additionals because they've already got the.
Yeah.
Pamphlet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so if everyone's happy enough with that as a concept, we'll move forward with that. But obviously that doesn't need to necessarily be the only thing we do. Let's come up with other kind of birthday celebrations ideas.
Oh, well, again, thinking about that, I'm assuming you're going to get Tony Hall involved. As he was the first.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder.
I'm just, I'm not being political. Yeah, I'm saying that he was the first mayor.
that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
town council mayor, yeah.
My first biology teacher.
That's why, without getting into,
You feel old.
without getting into major discussion of the chain, that's the idea of the chain. Everybody who's on that wall will be on the chain. On the old wall, we won't. That's the theory behind it.
That's for discussion next.
Yeah,
week.
that's for discussion
There's
next week, that's the
thoughts and things
principle of
we
it.
could do with the chain.
Yeah.
I'll just bring some proposals.
Because the chain goes back to 1933, is it?
Should have a roll call of all the mayors that are still around.
It's an interesting idea.
You know.
I don't know how many there are. Perhaps that's
Exactly.
a piece of work to do. How many,
Absolutely.
do you want to have some sort of
I think that's
some tea party or a gathering of some description or?
Northern Soul Night. And I'm obviously a bit biased on this one, but for example, that my mum could maybe go to represent my dad because he's no
Yeah.
longer here.
Yeah,
But she was mayoress, that was her title
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the time.
yeah.
But when,
What's the?
there was some rock brothers, because when Kate stepped down and Sarah took over, I got 20 years of mayors, because she'd been here for 20 years. I struggled with some of those, and that's a few years ago now.
Should we maybe try and find them all?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
You don't know Eddie's no longer with us. So we can-
Okay.
Well, who currently within the council, as yourself, Councillor Redfern, he's been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Councillor Harper, obviously, Councillor Jones.
Sylvia.
Yeah. Sylvia, yeah.
More recent ones should be easy enough, shouldn't
Yes.
they? Going all the way back.
Chris Ward. Bill Sol.
Yeah. I think you'll probably, yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Okay.
A little eventish kind of thing.
Got a job.
A sort of tea and cake opportunity. Tea and cake photo opportunity, how about?
A tea party.
I think also for any of them that are no longer with us or we can't actually identify and find, if we could identify somebody to represent them.
Exactly.
I can't say
Exactly. My mum
Yeah,
loved to do
yeah.
it. But back in those days, see, my mum did have the title of mayoress.
Yeah.
You know.
Like that.
what-
Yeah,
So it was an official role
Yes.
anyway.
yeah.
I mean, the representative doesn't have to be somebody who knows them or knew them, but is just representing.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a chain gang.
Instead of the Mad Hatter's tea party, it could be the Mad Mayor's party.
All right, then, so we're going to try and find previous mayors, and we're going for 75.
So we'll celebrate other organisations that are 50 around the same time. We'll have the pin badge and we'll try and organise a sort of tea party. That feels like quite a nice thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Good luck with the Miss Marple exercise.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful, thank you.
Anything else you need to bring forward on that?
No, I'm happy enough with that.
Okay, anything else you need to bring? We'll close the meeting, if not.
That's fine.
Thanks for sorting that one out with the washing machine today. when I-
See you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Well, that
That's
was it.
it.
Thank you.
Oh, you committee plans at 7:22. Thank you
We
very
got
much.
feedback from that Queen concert was the other night. Did you go for it?
April.
Well, I thought it's not, oh, it's in April. I'm just wondering how that actually pans out to see what we,
We are really interested in that because he's pushing it like Billy.
yeah.
That's why I thought it had happened.
Really?
Obviously, what I saw was just an advert.
Trust me.
That was doing it. Queen, spelt with a K.
Is it a Saturday? Is it Friday? Okay. Saturday, I'm sure.
What day is it going to be at? What day is it going to be?
What day is that, John?
What day is it? The Queen concert, when is it?
I'm really concerned about the sound of it, I think, it might, Guibosh on
What, sorry? I don't.
sound limited for that Queen concert.
I can disable it, Kev. I know how to disable.
There is,
Saturday.
there is ways around it.
Yes, I know that.
Saturday, the 20th of April.
It's a Saturday.
Could you imagine? I want it all.
Wow.
I want it. Gone. It's gone.
Right, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for standing chair.
All right, thank you for throwing me in.
Can't wait. See what's in.